Hi, I'm currently working on a project for my VW transporter. It's a 1992 LLE, limited last edition. It's only got a 1.6 turbo diesel in it, but it seems to work okay for the moment anyway. But one of the problems is no kind of onboard computer. It's the 80s version of the transporter, so there's no real electronics in it. And one of the major problems that I've found is the fuel gauge. As soon as you go around a corner, it either goes up and tells you you've got a full tank, or goes down and tells you that it's almost empty, depending on which way you go. So I thought, as I was looking at playing with Arduinos, I'd see about generating myself my own kind of fuel gauge, and this is where I'm up to at the moment. There's the Mega 2560 board there, and obviously lots of wires for just kind of interconnecting at the moment. At the moment I've got a potentiometer which is acting as the fuel sender, and then there's an LCD display showing the actual fuel level. Okay, so the figure on the right actually shows the current position of the potentiometer between 1 and 100, which I've transposed from the Arduino. Actually sees it as 0 to 1023, but then I've got that mapped to 0 to 100. So that's the if I go up rather rapidly, you can see it going all the way up to 100 and all the way down to 0. So that's literally the position of the potentiometer, or once it's in the van, the fuel sender. Now you'll notice that the fuel gauge doesn't actually, the fuel bar graph itself doesn't move, and the percentage figure doesn't move. That's because I've added into the code a piece of logic that basically says if the fuel gauge moves more than, or the fuel sender rather, if the fuel sender moves more than so many percent, then ignore it and use the last reading. So obviously if I go up quite slowly, it'll kind of slowly catch up with it. If I move it a lot, and at the moment I've got it set to 5%, I've still got to sort out the fine-tuning of the settings once it's in the van. But if I move it fast, it'll ignore it. If I go back down to 35, if I then move it slowly, and it's less than 5%, it will slowly come up to the 40 or thereabouts. Obviously it's transposed from 1023, so there is a slight difference sometimes in the display. However, as you're driving along and jiggling about, obviously it's going to be, the fuel gauge is probably going to be doing something like that, or the fuel sender, which obviously, as you can see, isn't changing the actual fuel level on there at all, apart from the my errors in the potentiometer. So that's where we're up to at the moment.